Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from. My name is NCK2310 here on YouTube. For the returning subscribers, thank you so much and welcome back. I do appreciate for giving me your time and your ears. And for those that are new, as I have said, I'm NCK2310. Normally we deal with music, but for the last month we've been dealing with Kenyan politics because I am originally from Kenya, living in Sweden. And yes, Kenya is our motherland. So when we see things going on in our country, we have to talk about those things. For the silent listeners, welcome as well. Lean back, no disturbances, and let's see what I've prepared for you. Yes, as you can see on my title, it's again about our Kenyan Gen Zs. With those that follow the news, you saw that our Gen Zs, they are back. Today they were back to the street, to the CBD. And we saw that they were there because they wanted to collect signatures. Yes, our Gen Zs are not giving up. It doesn't matter how much the Kenyan government tried to push them on the corner, they are not giving up. And the reason they're not giving up is because they care. They care about our country. They care about their future. They care about their children, And that's why they're doing what they're doing. We saw today when they were very peaceful, no weapons on them, very peaceful. They were just at the CBD trying to collect signatures because they need, like, I think 1 million signatures because, A, we need amendments. Yes, that's the fact, because all what has been going on in Kenya, this can't be allowed to continue. And so they were there, very peaceful. They are not disturbing anybody, because if someone comes to you and just asks you, hey, do you like what's going on? Would you like to sign here? Which is in our Kenya, it's their right, We have the right to assemble, to picket, and to demonstrate. And actually, they were not even demonstrating or anything. They were just there to collect signatures because that's what they had planned to. And what happened? Kenyan police, as usual, they came in. Some of them, we were shocked to see some police telling them that they have to ask for permit. Permit for what? Permit so that they can ask the civilians to sign? Come on. Where are we as a nation? Because this is wrong. This is not right. They don't need any permission to go and ask for signatures from fellow Kenyans. They don't. Because that was not even demonstrating or protesting or anything like that. But as we saw, police even started to arrest. I was shocked because I was watching that live. I was very shocked. Because as we've been talking about our Kenyan as a banana republic, that's where we are now. And these are things that cannot be ignored. It's very, very sad. It's heartbreaking. Because how can our Kenyan police, instead of they come, they see, okay, there are youths there. What are they doing? They could just ask, what are you doing here? They say, we are collecting signatures. Okay, but do it peacefully. That's the way the Kenyan police should behave, but not this brutal style, because they come, they start to arrest our youth, putting them in the cars. We don't know where they took them or what will happen to them. It's crazy because there are still many of our youth are still missing from the last demonstrations and processions, and we don't know still where they are up to today. And now the Kenyan police are continuing because today they arrested again. They arrested some of our youths. It's very, very sad. And I think as a nation, Kenyans, we have to condemn all this, what's going on. Because when most of us are scared and afraid and no one is saying anything, the police and the government, they'll think they're up there, and the number 190, you have no say, because that's where we are right now. It was so heartbreaking to see that, because hey, if the 190 want to sign, let them sign. And then from there, we see what will continue to happen, because we have to follow the laws. And that's what our youths are doing. They are following. They're not doing just like, they just want to hear, okay, is it only the youths that have that opinion? Or is it many of the Kenyans? And that's why they were there. They were asking, hey, can you sign if you think it's right what you're doing, if you want to amend, you know, our constitution, because it's crazy what's going on. You know, I was very, very shocked to see when the police started to arrest our youths. It was shocking. You know, I could see there Kasambweri Mercury. He was also there with the rest, with other youths. And he started to arrest. And thank God that Kasambweri is always able to dodge and run away, because you never know when they arrest you, what they're going to do to you. A lot of our youth have been killed, murdered, brutally murdered. Most of them still missing up to today. It's crazy. This is very, very, very sad, you know. And hey, you know what? We're seeing this young man called Morara Kabaso. He's enlightening us, you know. It's shocking about all these fake projects. If he's not doing what he's been doing lately, some of us, like me, I used to believe some of these projects were finished, just like President Ruto had promised Kenyans. Huh? We're gonna start this project. Oh, this had installed. This gonna finish now up to December. This and that. This stadium in Nyeri, in Elgeyo Marakwet. I don't know where. This and this will finish, which they are not. They're actually rotting. Most of those projects, they are rotting. So it means any money that was spent before, it's waste of money, because all those projects, we know very well when they are not finished, if there were metals, they start to rust, grass start to grow. It was all waste of money what was already started. So all those projects, which he's very courageous, this Morara. He's enlightening us Kenyans about all the fake promises, about all the fake projects that we've been lied to as Kenyans. All the fake project that the President Ruto used to tell us, that's going on, that has started, that will finish in, I don't know, 6 months, that will be done in this and this time. Why? Why tell our Kenyan people all these fairy tales? Because this is making our Kenyan people even more and more angry than they are or than they were. Because you promise them, we always say that action speak louder than words. Kusema na kutenda, as we always say in Swahili as well. It cannot be that you're promising fake things. Why? Why should you do that? Because during the elections, we understand that you promised that because you thought, hey, if I tell these people from Nyeri, hey, the stadium will be finished, they will vote for me. They did. Up to today, that stadium has rusted. In Elgeyo Marakwet, you promised them, oh, that stadium will be finished. Today, it's rusted. It's gone. It's not all right. This is not okay. And we are here saying all these lies have to stop. It's too many lies. We don't know how comes or who advises our president that to make it in politics, you have to lie. Because all these lies, I think they're taking us in the wrong direction as Kenyans. We have to say, no, we don't want to hear these. Then better to be quiet than to promise fake promises, because we know very well when President Ruto and our DP Gachagua took office, DP Gachagua said it, there is no money. They met empty coffers. So all these promises, from where the money, and then we know that we have so high debts at the IMF and, to China, to call them, name them. We have so many debts as Kenya. We knew very well that even the taxpayers' money which is collected has to go to the loans that we owe, And so all these other projects which we are being promised day in, day out, from where they'll be funded. It's good we as Kenyans, we also start to get angry and we start to tell President Ruto, listen, we elected you, stop to lie to us, stop to lie to the Kenyan people. It's always, it makes no sense because the lies will reach to an end and then you can't lie anymore. I thank God that we have so courageous Kenyans like this Morara Kobaso. He's telling us, he's going in and out. He's going, making sure that the Kenyans know that all those projects that were promised, those were fake. This was nothing like that. Those are rotting. Those are, there is nothing going on. And we know very well that many of the government officials, they are after Morara. When those of you that watch him at Lingugi, he was saying how his life is in danger, he and his family, because he's been followed, in and out. We don't know if it's still these Subaru guys or whatever that follows our innocent Kenyans that are trying to tell us exactly what's going on. And then they're already following, we don't know what they want to do to, like, these young men, Morara Kobaso, why they want to hurt him. Let him continue to tell us what's going on, because he's going to the ground. He's risking his life. He's risking his life. He's going to the ground because he wants to make sure that all Kenyans know, those Kenyans back home, and even we are outside Kenya, he wants us to know that all those projects being promised by President Ruto, they are all fake projects, lies. So each and every Kenyan should be very, very angry, because you cannot have a president who is lying to us. Because, one of the integrity you have to have as a leader is to be truthful, not to lie. You cannot lie to the people who have elected you. You cannot do that. You put yourself from here to there. You cannot do that. And this is what has been going on. And we as Kenyans, we have to say, no, this is too much. All these lies, they have to end. And nobody should be afraid and scared to speak, because Kenya is for all of us. Kenya is our motherland. Kenya belongs to all of us. Kenya is not just for the politicians. It's not. Kenya is not just for President Ruto or his cabinet or his government. No, it's for each and every Kenyan. That's our country, that we, all of us as Kenyans, whether in Kenya or outside Kenya, we have to feel the pinch when we have a president who is lying to us, who is telling us fairy tales, who is promising lies, telling us things that are not there, which are not even possible, because it's better to say, hey, Kenyan people, at the moment, we are not able to start any project because we owe so much money to IMF, to China, to Europe, it's good to be honest than to lie. With lies, this hurts even more. With lies, because we are already squeezed to the corner as Kenyans, and then on top of that, it's coming on top lies. This is heartbreaking, and we have to say no. And that's why I'm very, very proud of our Kenyan people, Kenyan youths, who are so courageous that they are ready to go out there. They're able to say, you know what, this is our country, and we'll fight until the end, until all these things are going on, because it's just corruption in Kenya, from the present position going all the way down. It's all corruption, corruption, corruption. When will this ever end? When? If we still want to have a country, if we still think that there's a future for the generations to come, we have to make noise as Kenyans. We cannot be quiet. Don't just be quiet because you're in a comfort zone. Don't. I am in a comfort zone, yes, because I work, I have a normal life and stuff, but still it hurts me when I know that most of my Kenyan people, they are suffering. That's why it's also, I feel the pinch as a Kenyan as well. So I have to get out of my comfort zone and make noise here online, because if we don't do this as Kenyan, then we don't have a motherland, we don't have a country. It's high time that we say, no, President Ruto, stop lying to the Kenyan people. I was very proud today. I was listening to this, there was a town hall meeting. President Ruto was with some of the youths. Some of the youths think it's just like maybe waste of time, because, hey, President Ruto is there listening, but when he leaves there, it's like in here, out there. You saw last time when the demonstrations and stuff were there, he fired the cabinet, and a few days later, he took some of them back and is taking one and one back, one by one. So it means everything we're telling the president is in there and out there. Nothing really sinks in him. And this is heartbreaking. I was feeling so sad to see this at the meeting, those of you who are watching it, which was just a few hours ago. And it was so sad to see our university students. They are like, you can hear in their voices, they are pleading with our president, please, President Ruto, stop this, with this new funding model. which is oppressing our university youths, our Kenyan youths. They don't see any future in this. And they were asking, why bring a new funding model? Why you couldn't amend the old one? What was the problem in that? You know? And for me, as much as I think, I saw the president Twitter was even making notes and writing and stuff like this. But the question is it the same thing in there and out there, and nothing sinking in him to know what our Kenyan news are talking about or what they are requesting? You know, it's so heartbreaking. It's sad, and I don't understand why that this corruption thing is so much inside the Kenyan politicians. For example, those of you who follow the news, you know our before Citizen TV anchor Salim Swale, and he was actually one of my favorite. I always used to go so often to Citizen TV to listen to him because he was always very, he seemed to be a very nice gentleman, someone that you could trust in. And wait a minute, after he joined the government, he started to work as a cabinet secretary by Musalia Mudavadi. What happens? Right now, he's accused of corruption. Conspiracy to defraud, attempt to attain money by false pretense, and abuse of office. The DCI criminal unit, they are there on him. Not only him, also some other guys with him there. And now the question remains is this. It seems like in Kenya, corruption is everywhere. That even if you are there and you are not corrupt, the moment you join in to be a politician, you become corrupt. Why? I grew up knowing that two wrongs doesn't make a right. I always say this and I'll repeat it again. In whichever kind of field you are in, two wrongs doesn't make a right. If you are if you join in politician, for example, with this Citizen TV Aqua, Citizen TV Aqua, Mr. Salim Swale, I believe when he joined in, he was not corrupt. He joined in, he meets some crooks people there maybe, who tell him, let's do this, let's do that, let's steal this, let's do that. He listened to them. And that's why I always say, you have you yourself to take responsibility of you yourself. Don't think because that one have ever stolen, always steal. Pesa ya umma, because that one always steal. I also have to do it. No. Two wrongs doesn't make a right. I want our Kenyan people to put this in their heads. Also the online family here as well. That two wrongs doesn't make a right. It's, for example, even here online. For example, if you come here online and you're attacked by someone who even don't know you or you have never met or something, someone who just hates you just like that, and someone attack you and abuses you, don't abuse back. Don't do it. There are better things to deal with that person. For example, if someone abuses you here online, you can report, if it's Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, call them whatever, you can report that person. If the person abuses you, disrespects you, lies about you, the best way you should do is report that person. If it's for YouTube, for example, here, if I abuse you and you feel disrespected, I call you bad names, I lie about you, I damage I spoil your name to the whole world because I just dislike you. You have the right to report that person, for example, here, YouTube to YouTube, for example. And it's the work of the YouTube to deal with that person. It doesn't matter how long it will take. It will catch up with him or her, for example. But it will be so wrong if someone abuses you and you come here online and start to abuse back, because it means you both, no one is better than the other one. And it is the same in this politics thing. If someone joins politics in Kenya and you know very well that it's corrupt, it's a dirty game. Politics in Kenya is a dirty game. It is. So because they've always been theft here, theft there, stealing, pesa ya umma. So it doesn't mean that because everybody else has been stealing, that you yourself who is joining in, you have to steal. No. Remember, put it in your head. It's you yourself. The moment you think you have to copy the other people and they're doing wrong things, you're not better than them. Because for me, I think with the case of this Salim Swaleh, I think exactly that's what happened. I was feeling so sorry somehow to see him crying. If you see a man crying and the whole world is watching him, you know, we women, we are the ones known. Maybe you can stand there and start to cry, but for men standing in front of a camera and he's crying, shedding tears, asking for forgiveness, you can see the guilt. He's feeling guilty. He know he did wrong, and that's why I always say you have to take everything you yourself individually. Don't think, okay, now I work here, my workmates always steal, my workmates always lie, I have to do the same. No, don't do it. Two wrongs doesn't make a right. Always take responsibility on yourself. That's what I always tell anybody who knows me all my life, from my childhood friends to where I am today. I always say two wrongs doesn't make a right. It doesn't. You have to be a responsible person, and always remember, if you are chosen to a certain position, remember, integrity is very, very important. You have to represent yourself in the right manner, in the correct way. You cannot make people stop to trust you, because the moment trust is gone, it's gone forever. There's no way you'll ever convince those people to trust you again. It's very, very hard, because to convince people who have already lost trust in you, it's very difficult. It's same like cheating in a relationship. If your partner cheats on you, it will be very, very difficult for you to 100% trust that partner, because you will always be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe anytime he or she can cheat on me. So I think it's high time we say, you know what, two wrongs doesn't make a right. Let us put that as Kenyans, wherever you are, whether here online, if you work as online person, whether you're in Kenyan government, two wrongs doesn't make a right. Stop stealing pesa ya umma. Even if the ones who are ahead, the governments, they've always been stealing. We know that. Yes, they've always been stealing and stealing and stealing. But you, when you're there, because in this government, it's not that we don't have youths. We have some youths there. Some of these, we have a few youths in President Ruto's government. It's not that we don't have. Even these young men, Salim Swaleh, he's also young. He's not old. We have all these youths as well. Some of them, not so many, a few, but when they are there, again, they're falling into the same trap of stealing pesa ya umma. It's heartbreaking. I don't know who will ever make people understand that stealing pesa ya umma is wrong. Yeah, that it's better to die a poor person than to steal even 1 shilling from anybody. That you yourself, that's what I always say. If you're there and you work, even if you are, not only the politicians, we Kenyan people, I always ask myself, are you able to watch yourself on the mirror and say, here I am, I've never stolen pesa ya umma, not even 1 shilling I've ever stolen from our Kenyan people. I wish, how I pray that we can be this kind of people in Kenya, that all of us are able to watch ourselves on the mirrors and say, God, thank you for who you've made me to be today, because even without stealing, you've made it. Some of our parents, they died poor, yes, but they never stole from anybody. They never did. They always made sure they work hard. Even the little they got, that's what they were able to educate us with. That's what they were able to feed us children with. They never needed to steal. They never needed to lie to other people just to benefit. So I think it's high time, as Kenyan people, we stand up, we wake up. Today when I was going through some news, and I was seeing one man, a gentleman. I thank him so much, because he was talking and saying to a certain police, if you took a bribe, I could have informed everybody, and that's the way it should be. Our Kenyan people should fully stop to bribe any police or any government official. When we start from there, stop bribing, we will make a step forward. We as Kenyans, that the moment you as a Kenyan, you work in an office and you meet somebody who is asking for a bribe, that you face that person until the person trembles, until the person is afraid, because the person will know, wait a minute, this is the new Kenya. We have to try to change Kenya. We have to make sure this bribing mentality has to get out of our heads. I always tell my stories that because I invest sometimes in Mombasa, I build houses, and there's often a few documents you have to do when the house is being built. You have to go a few steps, this and this and that. And for me, I always say, you know what? It will take time, yes, but I don't want to bribe. Bribing, get me out of that. I don't do it. I've never done it. I don't do it. That's the way it is. And things works. Patience pays. Be patient as well. Because all these things that you want, fast, haraka, haraka, for what? Going where? It's good that you can wait. If it has to be waited time, it's fine. I remember also when I was taking one of the new IDs in Kenya, and when I went to one office in Mombasa, someone was asking me to bribe, and I was like, no, why? Why should I? I'm a Kenyan. It's my right to renew or to get a new ID. Hey, I don't need to bribe. And the person that wanted, I told, it was a lady. I told her I don't do that. I don't bribe. I'm against bribing. And when I see people bribing, I get so angry, because each bribe takes us down as a nation. Each bribe that you do, you as a Kenyan, if you agree to give money to a police, you are putting our country down. If you agree to give any government official some money so that this and this is done, illegally, you're putting our country down. You're pushing us down as Kenyan people, as a nation. Let us be those kind of people. We say, you know what? No bribing. Don't bribe. It's wrong. It's not okay. I see Charlie. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, I see what you say there. When was the last time police arrested people who steal public money in Kenya? I know they don't. They don't arrest people. They just came the case because the judiciary is corrupt. That's what I'm saying. Corruption is everywhere. Corruption is everywhere. Judiciary is corruption. Police unit is corruption. Government officials, it's corruption everywhere. So we as Kenyans, we have to call each other a meeting. We as Kenyans, and we say, you know what? When we agree that no more bribing in Kenya, it should be in our Kenya constitution that bribing is a crime. Maybe it is somewhere, but people ignore it just like they ignore everything else. It's so sad. It's really very, very sad. And I feel bad when I watch all this, because I could see when these young men, Salim Swaleh, when he was saying for forgiveness, he was asking for Musalia Mudavadi to forgive him. He was saying that he has lost everything. He has lost his life. The lawyers, the police, they are on his neck because they want each and every coin. The case is being pushed and pushed and pushed, and there's more money that he has to pay for the lawyers. And he was crying online, asking, because he cannot reach Musalia Mudavadi anymore, because I think Musalia maybe blocked him. Because I also would do. I don't want to corrupt people to contact me. I also would block all of them, It seems like you're online. If you're online here, if you see some people who are so misbehaving, people who abuse other people, people who lie so much about other people, block those kind of people, And I think it's the same that has happened to this man, Mr. Salim, that he can't reach his former boss, because, hey, I'm 100% sure we still have a few honest Kenyan politicians, but it's very, very difficult to point them out, because it seems like many of them join in and they all start to do the same thing, being corrupt. So I think, I don't know what should be done in Kenya so that the name corruption can everybody should, when you hear the name corruption, you'll be like, oh God, I'm not corrupt. You have to do the right thing. And that's why I say, for example, if you drive a car, for example, you have to make sure that your car, you yourself, you are okay to drive, you're not drunk, you're not on drugs, you're not over speeding, You have to make sure that you yourself, you're right when you're driving. The moment you take a key and go inside, I see Ken Masharia, thank you Ken for coming, welcome. The moment you take a key and enter in a car, make sure that you're fine, you're okay. And then make sure that where you're going in that car, make sure that the car is in good status. Make sure that you have all the right documents, so that even if police stop you, you have done nothing wrong. So the police can check your documents, they're right. The police can check if you have alcohol or drugs, you are okay, you are clean. The police can check you're driving the right speed, you are not over speeding or something like that. So it means you don't give any chance for police to start telling you we'll arrest you, because you make sure your car tires, they are fine, your documents are okay, you yourself, you're okay. So they will, you make sure that you are a responsible driver. So when you are there on the streets, for example, our matatu driver, for example, don't overload the pedestrians. Don't take more people than you're allowed. Yeah, if it's about safety belt, if people have to take safety belts, make sure people have safety belts when you're driving, because it's safe for everybody. You have to be responsible driver, so that when a police stops you, you will stop nicely, just like we do here in the Western countries. We are also sometimes stopped by the police, but you know very well, the police stops you, you stop nicely. The police ask you for driving license, you have. The police, maybe sometimes they check if somebody has alcohol or drugs. They also do it here in the West. They check you, you're fine, the car is okay. They can see it on the documents of the car, because you get a stamp on top of the car when the car had the services and everything. So you are in the right path, or you don't need to bribe anybody. So I think it's high time for our Kenyan people to take their own responsibilities in everything. And also you yourself, as an office worker, the moment you get an opportunity to work for the people, do the right work. Don't just go there, sit in an office, and you're just waiting for the people to come so that you can bribe from them so that they can pay you money. It's high time for Kenyan people to say no to bribe. We have to start from there. No to bribing, because bribing has destroyed our motherland. Bribing has made our country become like a banana republic in Kenya. The moment we Kenyans, we say no bribing, it will be fine. Right now, almost all Kenyans, we have telephones. The moment you go somewhere and the police is asking for a bribe, expose that criminal police. The moment you go in an office and an office worker is asking you for a bribe, expose that office worker. I think that is the only way we can do, so that everybody who is in that office will be scared, will be afraid to even dare ask for a bribe, to even, because a lot of people in Kenya, they have this mentality. Oh, if I don't bribe, my things will go very slowly. Oh, if I don't bribe, I won't get my documents. If I don't bribe, won't get this done. And it's so sad. That's why I think we have to shape up as Kenyan people, all of us. We have to make sure, for example, if okay, what's the time limit to take an ID, for example, like here in the Western countries, for example, if you have, for example, a driving license and you have to renew your driving license, we take it. Okay, we do it actually online, everything you fill in, then you get the date, you go first date. I see Gashie Skyman. Thank you so much. Welcome, Gashie. I was also by you today. Thank you, Gashie, but silently, as you know. Thank you and welcome back. Yes, as for here in the Western countries, when we go to an office, for example, when we are talking about ID or driving licenses, you go there, you make a date, you're taking a photo, for example, and then you're told, okay, you're driving, I think it will take maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then they will inform you on your telephone. They will write you a message, okay, your ID is here or your passport is here. You can come pick it up. Let us make it like that in Kenya, so that this bribing thing is gone and forgotten and buried forever in Kenya. That's the only way we as Kenyan people, we're gonna put back our country to where it belongs. Because right now, I don't think we have a country. Sorry to say that. Because if you saw like today, our youth, they were just peacefully going out on the streets. at the CBD asking Kenyans to sign. And all of a sudden, police started to come harassing them, taking some by force into their cars. We don't know if those some of the youths they took, if they are even alive now or they already died. Like they've been killing many of them. It's heartbreaking. So for now, we as Kenyans, we have to agree on one thing, that Kenya at the moment is a banana republic. That is not a joke. And that is not that I disrespect our country. No, I love my motherland very much. That's why I feel the pinch, even if I'm very, very far away. But I feel the pinch because my people back home are crying. My people back home in Kenya, they're unhappy. My people back home, many can't put food on the table. It's not possible, So it's high time we all as Kenyans, we make noise. We cannot be quiet anymore because all these things that have been going on is just too much, because if we are quiet, then we will not have any country anymore. I remember a few months ago, we also used to make a lot of noise about the churches in Kenya because of the way they used to lie and fool our Kenyan people, that every Sunday, our Kenyan, the little even someone have to go and take to church. And the Kenya and the church leaders or those people, they're not ashamed to take from a very, very poor person who even don't know what to eat tomorrow. But because the person is pushed and brainwashed, the person is told, hey, when you give what you have, God will add you. That is stupidness. You cannot give all that you have and you leave yourself with nothing. You leave your children with no food the next day. You are there and you're giving everything to the churches. You can't even take your children back to school. You have no money then to buy school uniforms for your kids. Just because somebody told you, when you give, God will bless you. We've been talking those things and we'll continue to talk about them. So if you're there and you're a Kenyan and you're still buying the shenanigans from the church leaders, who are also, for me, they are same like the Kenyan corrupt politicians. Those church people who always come, instead of preaching the word of God, they're busy telling our Kenyan people how good it is to give, that if the more they give, the more they get. That is fairy tales. I can say that without because even for Wazungus, who actually are the ones who came with these Bible thing and stuff like this, they laugh at us when they hear we Africans, we believe in that fairy tales. That you work hard so much the whole month, and when you get your salary, or those who work every day and you get your money, you put your money together, and then when you're going to the church, there's somebody telling you, hey, you know what? Give here what you've been working for. Bring here, bring. And you're there working, giving all what you've worked hard for. This is so heartbreaking. When I think about this, I'm like, oh my God, when will our Kenyan people wake up? When will our Kenyan people stop to listen to these shenanigans and these lies from these liars and pretenders? Because if there's something that has finished our Kenyan people, it's two things: the government, the officials, the Kenyan politicians, and the church. Those two have finished our Kenyan people. They have. That's why our Kenyan people, they're so hardworking. They're not lazy. They're very much hardworking. But up to today, many are so poor. Many have nothing up to today. That our Kenyan people is hard to mouth. They go work, they get what they can put in their mouth, and then the next day they survive again. Why? Because there's somebody soaking each and every coin, what they're working for. It's so heartbreaking. And that's why we all as Kenyans, we have to say enough is enough. We have to point fingers. And our Kenyan people, you should not be afraid to point out at our President Ruto, or at DP Gachagua, our deputy president, or at any government official. They are not special than you. You are the one who elected them. That's why they're on that position. So it's not be like the Moi era, the Moi times. That's when I was growing up. Those years, Moi era. Everybody feared. Everybody thought, hey, Moi is like a god. It's like God. Oh, he's untouchable. It's like Kenya should change that. You should know that from the president coming, all the officials there, they are not special, more special than you as a Kenyan. your same level. Is only that you Kenyan people, we the Kenyan people, gave them those positions. But it doesn't mean that they are more higher than us. It doesn't mean that they are more important than us normal Kenyans. This is high time we start to point fingers. I was very proud today when I watched some of our youths at the town hall meeting today. When they were talking to the president, I was so proud of those boys and girls. They were saying, you know what, President? People are calling you liar. People are not happy with you, President. People think you only tell fairy tales. People think you tell lies. It's so nice. This is amazing. This is the country we want. We want our Kenyan youth, all of them point fingers. It's like us here in the West. With our politicians here in the West, even if we have come, but for example, some of us Kenyans, we have two nationalities. So we are like, I'm also Swedish, I'm also Swedish citizen. And I have the right as well. I vote as well in Sweden. And I vote both Sweden and Kenya. And for here in Sweden, it's our right. We can always point fingers at our politicians. We can tell them when they're doing wrong. We can point fingers and say, hey, wait a minute, you did this and this and that. We do that all the times, and nobody comes and start to arrest us just because we are telling the truth. Nobody start to come to harass us just because you're pointing fingers at the politicians that they are going in the wrong direction, that they should not do that and that and that. But in Kenya, what happens? You point finger on the politicians, they send the Subaru boys coming with masks. Today today they didn't have any masks. Maybe they have started to listen, but I'm sure they are still hiding somewhere. So that they can kidnap and hijack our boys and girls in Kenya just because they are trying to fight for their rights. You know what? Our Kenyan youth will not give up. And as I have said, our Kenyan youth should not listen to those politicians who are only selfish and thinking for their own gains, because there are so many, especially the older politicians. They are just there pretending to be on the youth side, but they're just thinking for their own head, their own stomachs. We know them. And that's why our Kenyan youths, do your thing. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue fighting for our motherland. Continue fighting for our Kenyan people. Because if we don't do that, we, the older people, we failed to do that. When I say we, it's because I'm almost 50 years. Yeah. And those of us that are around my age or even older, we failed to do what our Kenyan youths are doing today. We failed to point fingers because we were afraid. We were scared. Our parents were afraid and scared. They also didn't say anything. We were all rude. We were like robots. When someone thinks to pull us right, they pull us right. They think to take us left, they take us left. That's the kind of, that's how we grew up. But now our Kenyan youths, they've showed us that, you know what? Kenya belongs to all of us. Kenya is our motherland, and we'll fight for it, and we'll point fingers to the corrupt Kenyan politicians until they listen, until they remove what they have, the dirt in their ears. Because I think what happens with the Kenyan officials, they ignore. I think we should nickname them ignorant, because that's what happens. They are like, oh, make noise. Later on, you'll go nowhere. That's the kind of mentality the Kenyan politicians have. That's what they're thinking. It's crazy. We all as Kenyan people, we have to say, no, this is our motherland, and we'll fight for our country, whether you like it or not. I was also watching the news about Kupe teachers that's in the strike in Kisii. They are saying that there will not be school until the government meets their demand. There have been so much strikes, but still being ignored. Our doctors, nurses, before this strike for so many months, but they were ignored. It was like, okay, then if you don't want to work, then stay there. What about our patients in Kenya? Our patients, all the sick people in Kenya, what about them? I think it's high time we as Kenyans, we join with our Kenyan youths. Let us support our Kenyan youths. If you're back home in Kenya and you see that where we are now is not the right path, agreed to sign that. Our Kenyan youths, they need 1 million signature. Give it to them. I wish I was in Kenya to be the first one to sign. But we know there's also online. Online, we sign as well. Most of us have done that. But if you're back home in Kenya and you don't know about this, go there and sign. Let us give our Kenyan youth this 1 million signatures so that at least they are able to start from there. Because without the signatures, it will be very difficult if we want changes in Kenya. Because we want changes. I think everybody wants changes. I don't think there's anybody who don't want changes in Kenya. I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, when I watch all what's going on in our country, I'm like, oh my God, really? In 2024, this is where our motherland is? You know, this unfinished project killed my heart. I'm still shocked that it was all lies. Imagine if this man, as I've talked before about it, if he didn't, Murara Kebaso, if he didn't go there to the ground, make videos and photos and send it online for us, imagine most of us will still be believing. We'll be believing what President Trudeau told us about the project, this one and that one and that one and that one. We still be believing that it was finished long time. We won't know that they are all rotten, rusting. Even each coin that was put there is wastage. You know, it's heartbreaking. So, for example, the people in Nyeri, you should be so angry with the stadium there. The people in Elgeyo Marakwet as well, with the stadium there, you should be so sad. And then all of a sudden that the president is coming in Nyeri and you are giving, I don't know, goats and cows for him. Why? For what? You know, it's crazy. You have to be very angry with such this. You have to, you know, God gave us eyes to see, ears to hear, mouth to talk. God didn't give us all these things just for decorations. Use them. Let us be the kind of people that see things and we know, okay, this is where we are now as a country. This is how we've been fooled. This is how we've been lied. And let us say, no, enough is enough, President Ruto. Stop lying to the Kenyan people. Come out and tell the people the truth. Because even going to start to open, I don't know, making Eldoret a city or something like that, we know that there's always few billions that is given when a town is made a city or something like that. But you know what? If at all the money for all these projects is not there, how will you be able to get the money to build up Eldoret? How? Or that will be available because that's where you are from. Kenyans are watching. Kenyans are waiting to see. Because you cannot go and start new project when even these old ones are rotting. You lied to the Kenyan people. It's heartbreaking for us as Kenyans. Yes, it is. Anyway, as I've always said, it's always fun to talk here because I always say we take time. We are here, we are watching, we are following each and everything, what's going on in our country, even if we are not there by us ourselves on the ground. We are there and we are following what's going on because the oppression on our Kenyan people, if you oppress one Kenyan, you are oppressing all of us. When you lie to one Kenyan, you are lying to all of us. When you are corrupt and stealing pesa ya umma, you are stealing from all of us Kenyans. And we will not allow that anymore. The Kenyan politicians, you've been stealing enough. It's time to stop you. Let me see a little bit what you're saying here. Shari, I read that before, but I can repeat. When was the last time police arrested people who steal public money in Kenya? Okay, that's also the question. The Kenyan police don't arrest, you know. The DPP and DCI, they do the investigation and then they arrest. That's what happens. Ken Masharia, he and CK, sending love. Thank you, Ken. Gashia Skyman saying that would be a good idea to stop police from taking bribes. Yes, actually, that should be. But the Kenyans must take that first step. That when a police is asking you for a bribe, you make sure you take a video or whatever and post it online so the whole world can see that corrupt officer. That's the right thing to do. Ken Masharia, Let's give the video a like. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate. Ken Mashala, thanks, sis. Wamoyo Renberg. Hey, Wamoyo, thank you so much, Wamoyo, for coming. Welcome. Hello, all. Ken Masharia, another one. A hit. Thank you, Ken. Ken Masharia, hello, Moyo. Gashi is Kaiman saying Wamoyo, hello. Gashi is saying hello. Wamoyo sending, like, okay, maybe she's at work and peeping from outside. It's okay, Wamoyo, welcome. For me, as long as you're all welcomed here, for me, the people that I allow to come to my channel is because you behave, you don't abuse each other, you don't abuse, because that one I'm against. So for those people that I blocked, which there are very many, I think almost 30, I blocked them, it's because you are misbehaving around. So I didn't want you here in my channel because I don't want anybody to come and disrespect the people who visit me. So for me, I don't mind having less, but quality. I love quality. You know, I'm not the kind of person, I don't believe in quantity. Quality counts. Okay, so if you're in my channel, you should know you have quality. And welcome. Yes, Rashid Kaiman, Moi was a despot. Yes, he was. Yes, at least I drank his milk. That's the only thing good thing I can remember about Moi. Rashid is saying they were barred by the court not to wear mask. Yes, I saw that, Rashid. But you know, in Kenya, they can be bad maybe just a few days and then they're back to it again because they were showed. The Kenyans, they were showed from the high people how to disobey court orders, you know? So it became like, if the ones up there, they're disobeying court orders, why not us? But for today, I was shocked to see they don't have masks and something. I was like, oh, maybe they listened to the court order. Let's see how long. Rashid Skyman saying, please like the video. Yes, I'll appreciate. Ken Masharia, Skyman, hello too. Yes. You know, I think, just to have a little chat together, I think it's like this. For our Kenyan people, things will change the moment we will all say no to bribes, the moment all of us will start to point at the corrupt politicians. I think that is the time even many won't want to be politicians anymore. You know, they'll be like, wait a minute, we can steal. And that's the time we're gonna get good leaders. The time this corruption, we're gonna get people with integrity, because that's what lacks in Kenya. You know, people who have, because when you have integrity, you know very well you are there because the people have elected you. That's why you're in that position to serve the people. You know, it's, for example, those of us like me who are in the health. I work in health. I'm a nurse, and for example, those who are in health, we have to take responsibility. I take responsibility myself with all the patients that come under me. I have to make sure that I treat all my patients with respect and dignity. I have to make sure I do the right thing. I have to make sure I administer the right medicine for all the patients that I serve. I have to make sure that I do the right thing. I have to make sure I treat each and every patient the way I myself would like to be treated. I have to make sure, you know, you have to take responsibility, you yourself. And it should be the same case in the politics. In the Kenyan politics, it should be the same. That our politician, everybody, individually, you have to take your own responsibility. Don't start to say, oh, I'll steal because that and that have been stealing. You'll be caught. We saw with these men, with this Citizen TV anchor. We saw with him and his group. Because Aviv has 40 days. You can be stealing, but your day is coming. A day is coming where you have nowhere to run to. A day is coming where the truth will be known. You know, when I think about serving the people, you know, when you're there and you always, like the Kenyan politicians, I think you take a Bible like this and you swear to serve the people, you swear to work for the people, you swear to respect each and every Kenyan citizen. And there you are. Your work is stealing. Your work is lying. Your work is taking bribes. It's wrong. Because that's not what you're choosing to do. That's not why you have that position that you have. You know, I always talk, when I talk with my colleagues at my work as a nurse, during break time, we talk things together. And we all agree that everybody has to treat each and every patient the way we ourselves would like to be treated. You have to make sure you handle each and every patient nicely with care, tenderness, and love. You have to make sure that you make the patient to be comfortable. You have to make sure that you are a responsible person. And the same with our Kenyan politicians, because responsibilities is not on them. They just run around with suits which they've bought from stolen money. They just run around with big cars which they've bought from stolen money. They live in their big villas which they've built with stolen money. It's such a shame. That's why I say that day that each and every Kenyan will be able to go to a mirror and you watch yourself and you will say, you know what? I love myself because I do the right thing. Our country will change. The time you know very well deep in your heart that you don't steal pesa ya umma, you don't lie to the Kenyan people, you as a politician, that's the time our motherland will change. Right now, it's just noises. It is noises, and because President Ruto, he listens everything, but everything goes out here. We saw today when he was in this meeting with our youth, but let's see what will happen. We saw him making some notes. We don't know what he was writing there. What will come out of that? Let us wait and see. Because it's just too much. This is way too much. And our Kenyan police, they have to know that them also, their day will come. How can you be used? You're being told, go and harass the youths. Go and arrest peaceful people who just want go in CBD and asking people to sign signatures. Go and harass them. Go and arrest them. It's wrong. It's not right. And you know very well what you're doing. You're wrong. But you're still doing it. So there you are, our men and women with uniform in Kenya. Remember, you are in that because you decided you want to serve our Kenyan people. You are in that because you wear that uniform, because you swear that you will work for the people. Do the right thing. If your boss, whoever, send you to go and do something illegal, say no. Two wrongs doesn't make a right. Let me repeat that. Your boss could be wrong. Your boss could be telling you the wrong direction. But that day will come and you yourself, individual, as a police, you will take everything on yourself. Yes? I really pray and hope that our Kenyan people love our motherland, love our country, that we all join hearts together and say no to corruption, and say no to bribing, and say no to lies. And we should all, as Kenyans, remember, two wrongs doesn't make a right. Because something that you do, it will always be remembered. You know, you can be at a very high position like this because everybody believe in you, trust in you, but you can do just something which will bring you down. It's same like here online. You can see somebody you think, oh, very representable, someone you want to listen to, and all of a sudden, the person goes and abuses people here online. You know, the person is dropped down. The person is from that position, you bring the person very down because you think, oh my God, no, this is not the kind of person I was thinking he or she is. The person has no integrity, even to say bad words. You know, those of us who grew up for many years ago, we grew up knowing from our parents that you don't speak bad words with your mouth. It's a shame. It's embarrassing. Don't. Especially for those that speak my language, I'm Kikuyu in Kenya. You know, we were always told, we used to have songs in Sunday school. I remember growing up that way, which up to today, I believe that because I think it's a shame. For example, me as a grown-up 50-year-old woman, I can't come here online and start to call people names, embarrassing names. It's a shame. It's so wrong. It's bad. You know, let us be Kenyan people that we have pride as Kenyan. Because the moment you abuse somebody, someone will take record and you'll be showed, oh, You called this and this person this name. Let us be people who love ourselves. Yes. Let me see what you say here before I wind up. I think Gashie, I don't know what you wrapped there, but Gashie was saying Mora Kabese is doing the Lord's work. Yes, he is, Gashie. I'm so proud of that man. Oh my God. Although it was heartbreaking at Lingoge, he was saying how much they are after him. They want to silence him. May he be covered in the blood of Jesus, because he's doing great work. He's really enlightening us. He's telling us all the lies that were told to us and to the Kenyan people. Yes, Ken Masharia saying, being shame for real. Yes, being shame for real. Yes. Gashia saying, nurses in Kenya public hospitals are sometimes very cruel to patients. They abuse and ignore patients. Oh my God, Gashia. Here in the Western countries, they would never work. Here, when you work as a nurse, believe you me, you have to treat each and every patient in the right way. You have to make sure you treat him or her the same way you yourself you like to be treated. Yes. Anyway, what can I say? We hold our hands together as Kenyans. Let's keep watching what's going on. And Gashia, you do very good work. I always watch you, but from the back, because as you know what I went through before, so I go to many channels, but I'm always at the back bench. Yes. I thank you all so much for listening to me. May God bless you, guide you. And I'll let you know when I'm able to come live again. I hope on maybe Thursday or something like that, Wednesday or Thursday. So thank you so much, and stay blessed. And let's continue to pray for our Kenyan youth, the Gen Zs, the millennium, so that they can continue to fight for our country, to fight for Kenya, our motherland that we love so much. Thank you, and stay blessed. Bye bye.